This is Lucas Morse, and assignment 3 to understand the code. I defined all my pins for the LEDs, red, blue, and green, and all 4 of the buttons into their respective terminals. I initiated brightness level to equal 0 so I can use it later in my loop. For the setup, it shows all pin modes, all the LEDs are outputs, and then for the buttons, they're input pull-ups, because if you just have input, then there's possible for floating points and one floating point, so adding the underscore pull-up gets rid of the floating points. Serial dot begin starts the serial monitor with this baud rate. For the loop, button 1 toggles to red. It's an if statement that reads the first pin button, and if it equals high, then it's gonna output the pin red LED and do the inverse of whatever it reads. Digital read, whenever it reads, the inverse is the little exclamation point of the pin, the red LED. For button 2, if it reads pin button 2 as high, then the output is going to be the blue LED turns on, and then the opposite of the blue LED turns, and then the digital write is when the green LED turns on. The opposite of the blue LED is what the output is going to be. So whenever the blue's on, the green won't be on, and whenever the green's on, the blue won't be on. Button 3, turn off all LEDs. If you read button 3 and it equals high or pressed, it's going to output the pin red LED and low or off, and then for the same for the blue and same for the green with a 0.2 second delay. Button 4, change all the brightness in the LEDs. If it reads that button 4 is pressed high, the brightness level, which was initiated here, to equal 0. Where was I? Oh, right here. The brightness level, which is 0, equals it plus 1 to initiate an iteration, and then initiating another variable brightness to also equal 0. And this is for the different brightnesses. If the brightness level equals 0, brightness equals 64, which is 25% of the brightness. If brightness level is 1, then the brightness level is 128, which is 50%, and then the last one, 255, which is 100, and these 0, 1, and 2 are the times clicked. Analog right, this is changing the initiating these brightness if statements. Analog right, pin red LED, and it changes that one, and if it reads pin LED equals high, and the brightness equals 0, and the question mark initiates the what's it called? These little if statements to be inputted there. Analog right for the same for the blue and the same for the green, they're all the same. And if this is for the serial monitor, if brightness equals 255, which is the highest, then it's going to output I love mechatronics. And else if brightness equals 64, then it's going to output I love mechatronics even in the dark. And I added this one because I wanted to, there was no in between. Else if brightness equals 128, the middle one, it's going to output not quite there yet. I feel like this should work, and it makes sense in code to me, but when I verify it, it's all good, and then I upload it to the ESP32S3 dev model at the COM8 port on my circuit. just waiting for it to upload. Alright, so now it's uploaded. So to go over my circuiting, I've got all my buttons right here across, and I've got this going to the 3.3 volts into here, and then on the other side it's a 1K resistor into the ground. And for each of these buttons it's the same, but their respected wire is going to go to the port that was specified in the code, and it's the same for each of these buttons, but different wires in different places. And for the LEDs, there's the LED that's into the ground, and then it goes into a row, and then I've got a 220 ohm resistor going across the board onto the other side into another row, and then a wire connecting to its port. Alright, and this should work, but I don't understand why when I click certain buttons it only changes this little light. And I looked up what it meant to troubleshoot, and it's hard to see, but because it barely goes down, it's too many inputs. I'm not sure, but this is all I could figure out.